Starting off on Paladin, first off, when it comes to the engravings, what you're going to be needing to do is make sure that you're not using heavy armor. So, like, what I've noticed a lot of Paladins doing, we talked about this before, Nico, even I think when you were in here, is that for Paladin, a lot of people are trying to go for heavy armor. And the thing with heavy armor engravings is that heavy armor engraving doesn't even do anything but, like, give you armor for yourself. So it's like plus 20% level 1, plus 50% level 2, level 3 is 100%. The issue with that is, like, people need to understand that they need to try to get better at, like, dodging shit. I don't understand why everyone's doing heavy armor for Paladins. Like, not everyone, but, like, a lot of people are. I know in terms of damage for bosses, like, for, like, big raids and shit, using heavy armor, I guess, maybe just to mitigate it better, but the thing with Paladin is it's really good at sustaining itself, and it's really good at, like, not taking that much damage, really. So I never understood why everyone's doing this. So what you want to run for engravings, though, if you want to go full support all the way, the way I see it is if you can get your engravings maxed first, that's priority. If that's based on, like, RNG for drops, if you can get really good drops. Like, I have stats that are good and all, but, like, they're not, like, swiftness and specialization. Engravings have a much bigger effect on your overall build than your stats do, because obviously that's your big perks. Like, Spirit Absorption is, like, attack move speed plus 15%, and then Awakening is, like, minus 50% cooldown level 3 plus 3 maximum uses. Blessed Aura is level 3 with Holy Aura, damage received that is 20%, 2% of max HP restored every 1.5 seconds for all party members, and then Expert instead of Armor. I do Expert instead of Armor because shield and healing effectiveness on all party members is plus 24% if target's HP is 50% or lower, plus 12% additional effectiveness. So, like, all these combined together, it just makes it way better of a support class. If you, like, prioritize stats over engravings, you're not going to have any engravings, and, like, you're not going to most likely even do any content, because no one's going to, like, accept you for anything. You're going to have issues doing anything in general. It's just the way it is for the in-game at the moment, in terms of, like, matchmaking and, like, party finder. So, yeah, you have to have your engravings to back up your stats. So right now, specialization is a little low, and swiftness is as well, but these are, like, the main focuses for Paladin for support builds, and that's what you have to focus on in terms of, like, what you need, because Holy Aura is affected by it, your piety meter is affected, awakening skill damage, permanent increase to potions, and then permanently increase your book bonuses as well, which is pretty nice. Right now it's a 19, but, like, it can get super high. And then for swiftness, attack speed, move speed, skill cooldown, permanent increase for potions again, and then another increase for books. So, like, swiftness and specialization is really nice. For the gear itself, though, you always go with obviously the harsh build, but you're going to be running those once you get Argos completed, and that's usually the build people are going for. That's the tier 3 in-game build. And for the actual abilities for support, but starting off in tripods, you got charge at level 7, which you're going to be having excellent mobility and shining protection on for the shield, and then you're going to be having quick recharge for a fast cooldown on that. And then on punishment, I run punishment instead of executor sword, obviously, because punishment it helps you more stagger with groups, and that's the main reason why I run it. And I run concussion, divine punishment, and double smite for the 2 powerful slashes at the end. And divine punishment gives its last attack a 50% increase to damage, and a plus 150% more on when you have your execution up. And then concussion is just increases stagger level to mid to high, and that's the reason why I have that on for increased stagger for when I'm in groups, because, like, everyone knows that, like, groups just can't dash stagger out for some damn reason. Holy Sword is, of course, obviously a staple in the Paladin build for support even. Positioning is going to be a charge up time, negative 10%. I mean, just quicker, be able to use it faster. Outburst of light emits divine light even if the attack fails. Emitted light inflicts 20% damage, like a dot, basically. So it's still burning, even if you happen to miss by accident, so you're not, like, consistently missing on damage. Release light, which is repeatedly fired light, inflicts 80% more damage per foe hit, with a minus 1% cooldown up to 8 seconds. So it, like, the more damage you do and dash out per foe hit, so if you do, like, a mass mob, it's really nice in Chaos Dungeons. It's going to decrease the cooldown on it, as well as doing a lot of damage, so it's really handy. Next up is going to be the Light of Judgment for normal at 10, with Swift Fingers, Faith, and Sustain Enhancement. The time until emission of light shortens, which is another cooldown ability, which is nice to have it go out faster. Faith, obviously priority for Paladin support because of piety meter, because you want to always get your piety meter out. And this is always going to be leveled up to based on what you put in for your gear, which is going to be increasing with your worn out gear. So you're going to be, like, adding in set bonuses to these gear with, like, the Powder of Sage and everything like that, and you're going to be transferring skill trees to this, which hopefully you can use to upgrade all these. Like, Faith is a big one to upgrade because you're going to want to get your piety meter up even more. And then Sustain Enhancement obviously changes the holding mode. I just recently got this as well due to my skill points. And this is a hold button, but it's nice because it does a lot more damage, plus up to 150% and 163% as it levels up. and even more. But you hold it down, it's a consistent like gun. And the nice thing about this compared to like what it was when I had it when it wasn't like level 10, you couldn't aim it at all. You could aim it, but like once you do it and you just happen to miss, you couldn't turn it. The nice thing about this, you can move it with your mouse and like adjust depending on like where the boss is. So it's really freaking handy. Next is Point God Sent Law, which has Shield, Brilliant Law, and Grace. So you want to have Shield creates a shield with a 14% chance of max HP for 5.4 seconds for all party members within God's decree the moment it is created. This is really handy for like big abilities that are going off, and just the fact that most people, like we've talked about, Sarah, when it comes to party members, are going to be up on the boss's butt and like the hitbox. So you're going to be using this alongside with your group being on top of them doing damage. So it's going to put a shield on you and your party. And then Brilliant Law is element, changes it to Holy on hit, leaves light vestige on foes, damage from all party members, plus 10% for 12 seconds. That's a damage buff along with an increase to damage if you use Holy Aura. So you've got Holy Aura combined with Brilliant Law, which is really handy if you combine those. That's a 20% increase to damage to all party members. For Grace, you're going to have receives blessings from the Light's Guardian for all party members inside God's Decree, incoming damage minus 70%. As I said before, a really big mitigation tool alongside the shield as well. So this is a really big deal if you use it when your party's like right on top of you, or like right when you're doing damage to the boss. And Wrath of God is the next one, another level 10 with Wide Thunderstroke, Faith, of course, for your more piety meter. Wide Thunderstroke increases the AoE radius, which is nice because you want to have this as big as weight as the AoEs you can get, so that it helps hit like big mobs, is also as well as not missing the boss in case you're like out of the way. You're not so much focused on doing damage, that's why you don't run Jungle's Law. For the last perk, it's Express Fury, grants plus 15% of your attack power for all party members, another damage increase. So like your entire freaking build is just oriented around damage increasing your party. Why Galewind on God Sent Law? Reason why is because skill casting speed. So God Sent Law is a lot quicker of a skill compared to like most of your skills on a Paladin, and the reason being is because it's a cast. So like this is going to make it a lot faster to go off on while using this. It's like plus 12% right now. You want to obviously go for legendary for this for Galewind to increase the cast speed, but right now this is a really good one I have at the moment, and that's really handy for God Sent Law. So next up, you're going to be doing Holy Protection. That's your shield that is party wide. This is a big deal for this. So you want to have quick pace while shield is active. Your move speeds plus 50%. This is really handy in tight spots when you're trying to avoid mechanics that you don't want to get hit by with your party. So this is really nice. Purify removes the latest harmful effect cast on all party members within 24 meters. This is awesome in guarding raids, I found, and it's just really freaking handy. I've also noticed in abyssal dungeons as well when the bosses put buffs on the party. The second, if you save this and like you don't constantly pop it and you find the timing right with the debuffs, you can use it and it gets rid of the harmful effect on all your party members like immediately when it's casted. So it's really handy. I bet that's going to be awesome for like raids later on, for like Vulcan maybe, depending on what buffs are used. And in Vow of Light, when deactivated, the shield restores 8% of max HP. This is like one of the only heals you have besides the regen that Holy Aura gives. Like the regen for Holy Aura gives like a partial regen along with Holy Protection. But the thing is, like Holy Protection is the only big one you have, which 8% of max HP. And that's if you're not running Holy Area. Holy Area is another one. I find Holy Protection a lot quicker because you're just trying to pop a shield on people, right? And it's just a little bit of a HP buff. Plus cooldown plus 10 seconds. It's not like a big deal for 10 seconds to have on your debuff. You want to be able to have this up around the time when a debuff is going off, like I said, and you don't have to constantly be popping it because your shields are coming from a lot of other things besides just Holy Protection. You're going to be having Heavenly Blessings. You're going to be having Holy Aura up. Your ultimate, not to mention, is Aethel's Judgment. I'll get to that in a minute. That coincides with Heavenly Blessings at level 10, which is another faith, which increases your party member more by 62%. So, like, this entire build is just constantly pumping in your piety meter, which means you're just going to be constantly using your big ult ability, which is like your mini ult and then, like, your main ult, which is what I call it. Valor is your next one. Grants plus 50% of your attack power for all party members, 24 meters for 8 seconds. Overall attack power plus 6%. This is the one I mentioned before that I don't think stacks with Wrath of God. Like I said, you have to swap between both. So you kind of have to stagger both of them. So Wrath of God, you're going to be popping. And then after the debuff falls off, I mean, not the debuff, the buff falls off your party, you're going to be popping Heavenly Blessing. So this is the one you're going to be using right after. So you kind of have to just weave them. It's like the only weave you have in the entire build. And that's the big one that you're going to focus on. The last one is Absolute Blessing, which is MP recovery speed plus 42% for all party members. This is a big one because you're going to be using almost all your freaking mana when it comes to running Paladin. And I run out of it sometimes myself, and that's like because I'm using a shit ton of buffs and using all my skills that I possibly can though. And that's usually really handy to have like leveled up on your skill tree as well with your build. Your ultimate you want to have is Aethel's Judgment, which is a jump up and unleash a holy light that shines towards your target location on surrounding foes upon landing and creates a barrier for 80% of your max HP for all party members for 10 seconds within a 24-meter radius of all party members. This is a massive shield. This is like basically a health bar worth of shield. You can pop this along with popping Holy Protection, and they stack, from what I gather. It's just really nice for like getting around mechanics that hit really hard. And then for runes, which I didn't go into very much, quick recharge, like I said, for charge, makes it so that the cooldown is decreased so you can use it a lot faster. Overwhelm on punishment, obviously, for stagger damage plus 20%, which is a big main focus you want to do. And that's because like most parties, like I said, don't have very good stagger at the moment. People just aren't really used to like staying with the boss and staggering or using the abilities to stagger. Light of Judgment, you would run Conviction, which is on skill has 30% chance to imbue Conviction to suffer 3 seconds. When in that state, Judgment can be activated to gain additional effect. Now, this ability, Conviction, it activates Judgment, which is a perk. I've just honestly myself started dabbling in it because I never actually used it before. Judgment is more so an ability which is on the DPS side of things. Judgment increases damage based on your Sacred Executioner, which I do believe Judgment can be proc though with this ability activated on Light of Judgment. Based on the rune itself, it's more so you have to have both the Conviction rune and the Judgment rune. Rage I have on Wrath of God because like of chance of hit, it gives a move speed plus 16% for 6 seconds when skill is used, which is really freaking nice. I've had this go off before multiple times, honestly, when I do this ability and like my skill speed and my attack speed just goes off the wall, and I'm like, that combined with a bard, I've always mentioned it several times that like that is really nice. I'm able to pump out my abilities way faster, and it's just really freaking fast. I can't imagine how quick it'll be once I have my movement speed increased through my stats when they're fixed with my specialization and my swiftness. That'll be freaking amazing. For Holy Protection, you're going to want to have quick recharge so you can use this a lot more, make it a cooldown decrease in that. And then Heavenly Blessings, you're going to also have Wealth. I'm trying to get a higher version of Wealth at the moment because Wealth is a big deal. Wealth on skill hit, specialty meter gain plus 20%. It's a really good rune because especially for Paladin, you don't want to like do a crap ton of them, but like this right here, if I was able to get it to gold, it'd be a massive increase on top of the abilities that I have on my tripods to increase my piety even more. Like at the end of the day, when it comes to like raiding later on, I feel like the end game for Paladin support is going to be, this thing is just going to be full non-stop. It's just crazy how much you're going to be using your normal ult for Blessed for Holy Aura and the Sacred Executioner. It's just a constant buff on party. And like, of course, like people have said before, later in the end game and like the big raids and shit, I guess supports are going to be more focused around like just having shields up non-stop and just letting the party do damage. And that's the build so far that I have at the moment currently used for support Pally. It's really busted at the moment, honestly, no lie.